I know I got a lid out because I was using it as a spoon rest. Hey there, happy Monday everybody. I was surfing around on some ice cream forums and somebody had made a lemon curd ice cream, and I've made lemon ice creams before, so I started thinking about some other citrus, and I don't know that I've ever tried grapefruit ice cream. So we're gonna try that today with a grapefruit curd ice cream. So we will start with 6 egg yolks, 2 cups of sugar, and we will put that up to a medium heat. And I just want to whisk those egg yolks. If you're not familiar, I think I've mentioned this before in a previous ice cream video. When you mix egg yolks with sugar like this, it's called blanching. Usually you would whip this until you get a nice, sort of a light yellow consistency, or color. Consistencies don't have colors. So basically we just want this to be nice and smooth. I also have 2 cups of grapefruit juice. This is about 2 grapefruits worth. And 5 tablespoons of cornstarch. This is going to be our thickening agent. So we want to make a slurry here, so we'll just add a little bit of this juice. Ooh, I'm going to have to get a bigger bowl.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Okay, I'm back with a bigger bowl. I severely underestimated how much liquid I would need to make a slurry here. And everything was just going to end up spilling out of my little bowl. So this will take a little bit of effort. So that took a little bit of effort, but we have a nice slurry here. Now we add the grapefruit juice. So I thought this was a brilliant idea because we're basically making a reverse custard, reverse from the way we make our ice cream custard. We're cooking the eggs together with the sugar, and then we will add the cream at the end. So I thought that was sort of a unique approach. And I am making a lot of curd here. Some of this is for me. I'm going to keep to eat on, I don't know, toast or something. Or probably just on its own. Although, not a huge fan of sweets, as you know. And we can go ahead and add that slurry. Hey, look, we have lights. About a month ago, I had a few issues where I had left a window open, and so I had some flies in the house, and I ended up with a bug assault. This is going to be a terrible mistake, but this is how I'm going to add my pinch of salt. Not as big of a mistake as it could have been. Okay, so we just want to whisk this fairly continuously for about 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. We want to activate all that cornstarch. So I really do enjoy curds. Growing up, one of my favorite desserts that my mom would make somewhat regularly, I'm considering once a year to be regular, it sort of became an annual tradition, was this lemon layer dessert. The bottom crust was, it was sort of a shortbread pie crust combination. And then on top of that was a cream cheese layer. Above that was a lemon curd layer, and then on the top was a whipped topping. And because of that, I really found a love of curds. In fact, I loved curds so much there for a while that it was basically my middle name. And speaking of names, you may not know this, but my legal surname has too many hobbies. And let me tell you, that was incredibly difficult to learn how to spell in kindergarten. The other really nice thing about making this a curd instead of a regular custard is that we don't have to strain it because any of those egg yolks, any of the little egg white bits should incorporate completely. I don't know, I've never strained a curd. I don't know that you could strain a curd. We just had to be somewhat extra careful as we were separating the eggs. Okay, we are about 10 minutes into cook time. You can tell that the foaming has subsided, and it is starting to get thick, but not quite thick enough. We're looking for sort of like a loose pudding. Plus, it should clear up quite a bit when we're getting close. A lot of the opaqueness that you see right now is because of the cornstarch, and as it starts to bloom and incorporate, this should start to clear up quite a bit. I'll also be able to tell by the size of the bubbles in the boiling and also the thickness. It is really starting to thicken up quite a bit just in the last 30 seconds that I've been talking. Okay, so see how the bubbles, when they erupt, they sort of leave a concavity, almost like looks like a little volcano. That means that we are pretty much right where we need to be, maybe just a few seconds longer. It is now so thick that I have to hold on to the handle. Let's see that. Yeah, that's pretty close. That's a loose pudding, right? I was expecting it to have cleared up just a touch more, but I think, and you can tell by how much it's really reduced along the sides, I think that's a loose pudding. So go ahead and kill the heat, and now we get to start to add the butter. So add it just a couple of pats at a time. We're going to end up adding 1 full stick of butter. But we want to make sure that it's completely melted and integrated before we add the next couple of tablespoons. And during this process, it should start to take on a nice shine. 2 more pats. You'll notice as you're whisking this in that it takes progressively longer for each butter addition, and that's largely because the entire mixture is starting to cool, because, by the way, this is frozen butter. I forgot to mention that. And I think we're ready for the final addition. I have one little guy that's stuck around there. I don't know about you, but my arms are getting tired. That's what I get for skipping arm day. Every day is leg day. Okay, I do not see any other butter sticking around. Sticking around. Unintentional pun. So for our ice cream, I am just going to use about a cup. There we go. My cup runneth over. And the rest I'm just going to put into a container for consumption later. No need to clean the pan because we're going to use it to whisk everything back together for the ice cream. Now between the liquid from the grapefruit juice and the fat that's in there, I sort of considered it to be 1 cup of my dairy. So we just reduced to half a cup of whole milk, 1 cup of heavy cream. And again, no heat needed here. We're just whisking to get everything combined. And we'll also scrape off anything on the sides that I did not get with the spatula. And let's give it a taste. Just make sure that our sugar levels are good. And I don't know. I don't know that we need it, but I'm going to add about 1/8 cup of sugar. Just because I could tell that it's a little bit undersweetened as far as ice cream is concerned. The curd itself is delicious, by the way. Not bitter at all. Just the right tartness. It's excellent. It's no lemon curd. Lemon is still my favorite, and it probably always will be. This is the container that I was storing my whisk in, and we're just going to use that as our ice cream container. We're not cross-contaminating anything, so no need to worry. But we are shy. Our total volume is shy, and I'm not entirely sure why. I calculated very poorly, apparently. So I'm going to add, let's see, how short am I? I'm about 1/2 cup short. So let's add around 1/4 cup of cream, and we'll just add another 1/4 cup of curd. Somebody run my calculations and tell me where I messed up, because that should not have been 2.5 cups. Okay, lid on and into the fridge. Okay, let's get the grapefruit curd ice cream churning. It is extremely thick. There's quite a bit still left in there. I'll probably come back with the spatula real quick. We put a lot of effort into this. There's no point in wasting anything. And we'll be back in a half hour. Okay, let's get our grapefruit curd ice cream into a container. As you saw when I poured it, it was very thick, and it still is, as we would expect since it's frozen now. But it did take longer to churn than I expected, so we'll see how the final texture turns out. GF is grapefruit, not gluten-free, although it technically is, right? All right, time to give the grapefruit curd ice cream a try. Well, the top of that really set up nice and smoothly, and it's got a nice squeeze to it. Go ahead and scoop in. Oh, that's very soft. Not melty soft, but creamy soft. So really nice scoop. It didn't really leave behind the scoop lines, but it held its shape pretty well. Go ahead and give this a taste. Okay, wow, so the softness of that scoop really shines through in the texture. It is silky smooth on the tongue, and it melts super smoothly. The only thing I wish is that the grapefruit flavor was a little more forward, right? It's there. I get the tartness a little bit, and just the ever so slightest bit of bitterness like you would get in a grapefruit. It's almost like the egg yolks and the butter from that curd are sort of overshadowing the grapefruit. Not that that's a bad thing necessarily, because this is a very rich ice cream, so that was somewhat to be expected. I'm really enjoying this one though. This one's really good. But flavor aside, just texture-wise, this one is so smooth and silky, and just the way it melts on your tongue is so different than anything that I've ever had. It might be one of the richest ice creams that I've ever made. It'd be right up there with the brown butter ice cream from last year. It is just so smooth. I just wish there was a little bit more tart. And I'm not sure how we do that without adding more curd. But if you add more curd, you get more eggy and buttery flavors. Do you maybe mix in just a little bit of citric acid just to sort of bring up that flavor? Do we reserve some of the grapefruit juice and splash it in at the end? You know, this is actually the third ice cream that I've tried today. I just got done tasting the Ted Lasso inspired ice cream, and I ended up eating almost all of it. I had to throw it away because I knew that I still had another one to taste. This one I also will probably end up eating most of. I'm gonna feel so sick by the end of the day. I think this is my meal. This is my breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Breakfast, black walnut ice cream. Lunch, pineapple with blueberry. Dinner, grapefruit curd. How does it get any better? But before I do eat all of it, I'd say overall, definitely a remake. Maybe a few tweaks here and there. Like I said, I'd really like to see that grapefruit shine through more. This would be fun to try with a lemon curd. I really think you can get the tartness to show through in something like that. Plus, I'm really familiar with making lemon ice cream, so I sort of have a baseline to know where I'm starting. But definitely, we'll be remaking this one. Anyway, hope you all have a wonderful week, and we'll see you again next time. Bye!